Hi and welcome to the FinancialFox Crypto Show. Today I have two special guests, fresh from Canada, Frank Dumas, CEO of ZeU Crypto Networks, and Jean-Philippe Beaudet, Director and CTO of ZeU. How are you both?
Pretty good. Happy to be here.
Fine, thanks.
Good. So before we start to talk about ZeU and its strategy, I would like you both to introduce yourself to our audience. Frank, do you want to start first?
Okay, since I have to.
Well, you have got quite a certain following in Canada, but you can tell everybody else about yourself and also about ZeU.
Well, I've been with ZeU since inception. ZeU is at its second iteration. Right now, we had to restart from fresh in August. It was originally created as a subsidiary of St. George Eco Mining, which is a listed company, listed issuer in Canada on the Canadian Security Exchange, and it was listed in order to monetize some blockchain intellectual property that we had and additional property we were supposed to acquire. That deal fell in August, and we kind of had to start again from scratch early last fall. And myself, I've been involved with distributed computing and encryption back in the 90s and video engine for video games. I kind of left the field in the 2000s, and for almost 15 years, I almost had to call guys like him to come and set up my phone when I wanted to receive a fax. Like I really didn't want to touch it anymore. And somehow the blockchain business or the blockchain technology evolved in a way that it kinds to reconnect or close the full circle back to what we used to do, which was distributed computing back in or distribute operating system back in the 90s. So it became interesting and fun again to work in that field.
So a strong technology background.
I would say an okay technology background. He has a stronger background.
Okay.
And the team that we're able to put together is pretty interesting. Like we have a small team, but it's I've acted as a consultant for many technology companies in the past, and I wouldn't be shy to bring that team anywhere.
Okay.
Pretty impressive.
Jean, do you want maybe to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. Well, I could say that I am a self-learned guy. So I've studied in video game designs, which is very far from what I'm doing now. And 7 years ago, I was recruited in my first startup. So I did 4 years of research in machine learning, which was not even a word I knew before. I'm learning on the spot, so I have learned to do Python, Java, and all those machine learning coding in mainly natural language processing, which is treating natural language and understanding the meaning of it, the context of it, and using it in something. I've been doing that for 4 years, and I've also been working in a company, a service company, in which we were CTO for hire. We would take ideas from a paper sheet and we will build a team around it, build a proof of concept and deliver some technology. Generally, the company would buy the team just right after. It was very fun to do that, and I discovered blockchain technology quite by mistake. We were in a shared office in a place in Montreal which was called the Bitcoin Embassy. It was very early in the time. The Bitcoin was very low at that time. Nobody knew what blockchain would ever mean. And we started to work with these guys. They needed some development help. They all needed something. So I discovered encryption, discovered blockchain technology. And the same as with machine learning, I just learned it in a few months. And then the tokenization and all about, the token, Color.com were my first passion. It was the first time I saw that the actual asset in the world could be represented numerically in one unique asset system. And it was a passion. It became a passion instantly. So I kind of left everything, left the service company and started to work in the blockchain field. Then I have helped two companies to stand up from this time, one which is doing crowdfunding using blockchain technology. And then I just moved on, and as privacy and encryption was somewhat one of my other big passion already, I kind of wanted to join blockchain technology with privacy. This is why I founded VN, or VN13 Venet. my last company, that was acquired by ZeU Crypto Networks just recently.
And that's when you came Chief Technology Officer. Exactly,
to be able to put this vision forward into action with a good and listed company.
Okay, let's come back to Venet a little bit later. Maybe, Frank, now you can give us an overview of ZeU. What is ZeU?
Well, right now it's an R&D outfit. So because we had to start from scratch, the first employees and me actually had to take a few weeks to figure out what we want to do, what do we want to build, and try to learn from our mistake. And I'm not meaning about investment banking or merchant banking transaction that failed, but really in terms of development. So what can we do, and what's the philosophy behind it? And the first thing we decide to do is, okay, we're going to set up something that, as a blockchain protocol, that we can use, we can test a distribute application, because we can monetize a distribute application. And that's the first mindset. Everything we want to put forward, every patent that we want to come with, we want to have an idea, a general idea of who's going to pay for it, who's going to scratch a check, who's going to be interested, do we have potential clients? If not, we're putting it on ice until we find someone, either a partner or a client, that's willing to bankroll
that is quite different from any blockchain outside there, because what you are looking is actually how can I monetize the blockchain?
Well, there's things we know how to do. Like we know how to actually bring big data functionality to a blockchain. We know how to do random number generation on the chain, and things of that nature. And so a lot of people look at one metric. For example, speeds of transaction, execution, stuff like that. We're not necessarily at this point, without disclosing too much things, we're not the best in the world. To be honest, if someone was to come to me and say, we have the best blockchain currently in the world, I would say, okay, let's talk tomorrow. Let's see if you're still the best blockchain in the world. Because it goes very fast. Yeah. And I'm not, I would say, I'm not good enough to know what the market would need. And when I say the market is the industry in general and the different industry. I don't know who's going to integrate blockchain first, who's going to be willing to pay the most, and where the money will be to continue to develop blockchain and move it to the next step. And I don't know where it's going to be in 6 months. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible, keep our options open. We have right now we have our I would say, a draft, which is our alpha or beta version of our blockchain. It's comprised of some open source software that we embedded, and we use also public blockchain to build something that we could test our application right away. The advantage is that we kind of becoming blockchain agnostic that way, as our application can be ported to one blockchain or another when we actually come out from the permission or the private base blockchain to the public blockchain.
So how is ZeU blockchain protocol different from other blockchain?
Well, it's a permission-based private blockchain. So right there, it's a lot of people will argue that it's not a blockchain because of that. In our case, because it's open, we think it is. We think it respects certain rules that even the more pure, blockchain fans would actually consider, and that's decentralization and distribution. And the fact that we're able to actually have a gateway through our data, the way we handle the data, with other public blockchain like EOS, Cardano, and Ethereum, actually, I think, makes it something interesting. We're not fixing all the problems, we're not connecting to all the other blockchain, but we're connecting to some of the big ones that allow us to have a redundancy so that we could have our own permission-based blockchain, but if some people want to develop, I would say, like end-user application on our network and use also and have some portability towards EOS or towards Ethereum, we can do it. And that's one of the thing we test and some proof of concept that we develop with JP is that some of the application he's been working on, we're working on Ethereum, and now we're looking at integration with our network. And it's pretty simple to do. It's a pretty simple road ahead.
Okay, something very interesting is also about big data, if I understand correctly, that the blockchain is able to manage, massive data and also big data. Would you like maybe to explain a little bit more about that?
Well, it has been said for a long time that it would not be possible to deliver big data solution on the blockchain because of the nature of the blocks and the way the blockchain is handled publicly with all these nodes computing it. But one thing that is very interesting that we're developing in ZeU is the separation of how the data is handled and how the transactional layer is handled. And this opens up a new way to master and deliver massive amounts of data. But not only that, it's enabled us to build an abstraction layer on top of these secondary layer in which we can do data mining. And then we can deliver solutions like monetizing this data. We can also deliver solutions like anonymization, usage of machine learning to either mine, anonymize, or even do all sorts of iteration on the data. So it's a very large context. And in the context of big data and machine learning comes the privacy. If you want to do something as sensible as healthcare or gambling or financial data, that now you're looking at jurisdiction, the legal pendant of all of this. So you need to take really care of the privacy of the people. And people like to hear about privacy because there is a conundrum now in which all the big players in the big data are data-driven model. They are selling your data. They make you believe that you're using something for free, but as a matter of fact, you're not. You're delivering them their own value, and they are $1 billion company. So I'd say that we are aiming at creating innovative solutions for big data that will respect people, that will respect privacy, and that will still deliver high-performance computing.
Okay, coming back to the Venet acquisition, how your platform and your network can help you to monetize its blockchain?
Well, it comes with an embed solution that we are developing to use machine learning to create privacy and access to this data. The point of Venet was to create a market in which it will be not only ethical, but it will be very fast and to use this data, that people could trade peer-to-peer data, that B2B company could trade and use data, because there's a big problem. When it comes to machine learning, you have algorithm developers, you have people that got big data, but no one will share with each other because there's so much third-party sharing of data, there's so much legal implication of who's going to use my data and how. So Venet was this escrow in which people could deliver data and an algorithm could be run on it and people could deliver this data, but no one would have access to each other. Then everyone gets what they want, but nobody is able to cheat each other. So that's one big solution that Venet was trying to fix and that we're going to port into the ZeU network. Okay.
One of your recent announcements was about the partnership with St. James House.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to expand your operation in Malta with a gaming license company. Now, we know the massive opportunity that exists in the crypto gaming market, particularly Malta, which has been described as the blockchain island and also as a massive background in gaming, in the gaming industry. So what are your plans now with St. James and what is the timeline as well?
It was probably the week or the weakest link in this business. It was the first segment or business model we could take on and knew we could quickly come up with application that we can monetize. So we started to talk with different gaming operator, bookmakers, and sports books, online sports books. Mark Billings has a long history being with goldenpalace.com in the past. I've been helping to process and structure gaming operator like years ago, and we had Lord Razzle, who's joint director of St. James, who's formerly Boxell, and of ZeU, and so a part of the discussion, that's one of the few that they were really to move fairly quickly. Because they are a license holder, they are a gambling issuer in the UK, and they have a wealth of experience. and especially regulatory experience. Like they have the people on their board that have successfully acquired a license in the UK and other countries in the EU. And that was important for us. So that's one thing. So we think we're going to have this lottery operating this year. And it's ready. We've done tests internally. This one is they call it a Calcutta lottery in certain area. They call it our Chinese auction. It's an interesting game, and probably we'll have, I would say, the next few weeks, right after one big milestone that ZeU has to achieve before we can make that announcement, we'll have a demonstrator, and we can probably talk a little bit more about it. In the meantime, we've been going around, and we actually even received people in Montreal during the holidays, the Christmas holidays, that are very interested by the random number generator that we've developed. And what we're doing right now is we're conducting demonstration and looking at how much we're going to charge for other company to be able to use it. With St. James, it's a joint venture agreement up to a certain point. Like they're the operator, but we're providing the quality, we're providing the technology, and it's a turnkey technological solution. So with the other players, they already, or when I said players, we're in the other companies, and in the gaming industry, they often have their platform deployed already. Some of them are already into the blockchain, and we're running into problems like to have a random number generators that's centralized at one point, or on one server. It's definitely not the greatest thing. It kind of defies the philosophy of blockchain that should be decentralized and distributed, and that's probably what our random number generator achieved.
Okay, but St. James also, I mean, it looks like a great partner also because they have already a gaming license in the UK as well.
Well, most of the people that approach us all have like multiple licenses and multiple jurisdiction. So we're really, we're not expecting that when we put, on a notepad how long we wanted to take to have the first clients in the gaming business. We put 2 years. We thought it would literally take 2 years before somebody says, okay, let's talk about numbers, let's talk about what we can do. Past experience had told me that they're very most of these operators, the gaming operators, are very jealous of what they're doing, and they're very protective of their business. And it looks like we came up with something that fixed a problem that a lot of them had, because they all try to obviously compete against each other and be the first to deploy as many gaming offering as possible to the blockchain world. So we're coming right at, it's the Forrest Gump factor. We're probably not the best, but we're right there at the right moment.
And this is just the first partnership. Then obviously to monetize the value of the blockchain, you're looking to enter into more partnerships. So let's look at the partners. What is your ideal partner? What are you looking
It's like I was saying in the early comment, we decide not to paint ourselves in a corner and how this company is going to develop. So we don't know yet who's our ideal partner. We don't know yet who's our ideal client. Obviously, someone who can pay us, that's like a good start. But apart from that, if they are solid enough to back the deployment of even something new, it could be interesting for us to be there and be on at the beginning of a new venture and have some type of equity or a bigger royalty against the risk we would take, as long as we're able to generate enough revenue for the next few years to sustain the development we have to do in that field.
I mean, as you recently announced also the appointment of Dr. Fenglian Xu, she is a well-known and well-respected leader and innovator in AI, machine learning and healthcare. So healthcare could be another industry
it is
to look at.
Definitely one. I'll probably let JP talk a little bit more about Dr. Xu, but I've known of her for a while. JP was in touch with her, and through discussion, he said, "Oh, you know, I can have access to her, and there's a lot of things we're behind the scene working on with other partners, potential clients that would need our expertise, and we can probably leverage off our expertise by next week." So she was available. She left IBM Hyperledger last year. She was working on a few things. She had time and she had the interest. Obviously, she had a lot of offers, but she had a particular friendship with JP. They've been working on anonymity. They've been working on securitizing personal data. And that's what the healthcare industry is all about, is that you have your layer of what we call the client's data, or the patient data, and then you have the transactional layer, which is the layer we can monetize. One of the best example is if we do research and we need to have random, and the random number generator comes in play also there, where we could actually have randomized sample for pharma research. And that's a very important thing. And now suddenly we can go to a very large conglomerate, HMO, insurance companies, like ministries, the health office, or different actors in the healthcare business, and tap into their business. Meanwhile, at the same time, making sure that we anonymize the end user or the patient, so we protect their anonymity. But you can probably expand a little bit more. And we were making jokes earlier about AI and
something that I think is quite interesting is also to understand what is the difference between AI and machine learning.
Well, to be honest, it's a very, very simple difference. If you speak about AI, it's probably on a PowerPoint. If it's written in Python, Java, or within C++, then you speak about machine learning. We have to understand that AI, as people want to coin it, does not exist yet. Machine learning is the capacity for a machine to learn a task and to do it repetitively and even improvise a little in the way it's going to do it. But it's very far from anything intelligent. So that's a pretty simple answer.
Okay, anything else that you want to say about ZeU?
Well, Dr. ZeU is a very, very specialized in healthcare data, as it's already been mentioned, and she has made a personal passion of how can we deal with distributed application while respecting privacy of the people, but still being able to provide valuable, trackable information that is of great value for these pharmaceutical. She has worked on personal project for the last year while she has quit Hyperledger. Even within Hyperledger, she has been working on permission-based blockchain, which has in many ways embed features to enable privacy. So I think that when I saw and I joined ZeU, it became for me instantly a fit to say, okay, Dr. ZeU is the person in which we can enter the healthcare solution and provide something that is maybe not the best in the world, but definitely in the first year.
There are a lot of things on the table in such a small team. How are you handling
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm the train operator who tries to get things going, but like I have a massive payload behind. Like these guys are all genius, and they can work together. So that's the greatest thing, is that I've seen that in company before, where you cannot have a cohesive team, and they just complete each other all the time. Like we start an idea, and by the end of the week, like it feels like it's been 6 months. Like there's so much work being done. We just filed for a patent for peer-to-peer email on the chain, and we've worked on this for about 2 weeks, and we already have internally a demo that we're doing tests right now, and we're looking at probably putting that out in the next quarter as a group of beta tester to see what needs to be tweaked and how can we monetize this thing even better than the concept that we're working with right now.
Very, very good. Thank you very much for being with me in the studio, and I look forward to have you back.
With pleasure.
Thanks. This is everything from the FinancialFox. I see you next time.